Welcome into a special edition of A to Z Sports Nashville. I'm Austin. He is Zach. We're off this weekend from live shows. We'll be back next week from SEC Media Days in Birmingham, but we're starting off the week and we're giving you the state of basically American sports. Today we're doing the state of the SEC. Later on in the week we'll do state of American pro sports, state of the Vols, state of the Titans, and state of the NFL. But Zach, before we start today's state of the SEC, people out there have some jobs to do.
Yes, they do. Do not forget to share this show with everybody that you know on Facebook and everywhere. Spread it around, spread the wealth, and we'll get started here shortly.
All right, welcome into A to Z Sports. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Follow us on Twitter at A to Z Sports, like our Facebook page at A to Z Sports Nashville. We are Nashville's on-demand live sports talk show, and we do this every weekday at 8. Got to thank our presenting sponsors. We got to start with Hotsy in Nashville, the number one name in pressure washers. Hotsy has you covered, whether it's your house, your deck, your pool deck, your driveway, your car, or your business. Hotsy takes it all off. Hit them up at hotsynashville.com. Also, Hyundai of Cool Springs. They're driving us down to SEC Media Days in Birmingham. Great people from Frank the GM all the way to Oscar and Amanda at the sales floor, down to the technicians. Hyundai does a great job in finding the right fit of a car for you. HyundaiofCoolSprings.com. The extra point will be up on our website, AtoZSportsNashville.com later on today, and that is presented by Corner Pub in Brentwood. So, Zach, state of the SEC. A lot of people think the SEC is the best college football conference in America, have thought that for a decade plus, probably almost 2 decades of that thinking. Are they, though? Is the SEC still the best college football conference in the country?
I think a lot of people are in denial, unfortunately. I
Really?
think that the SEC has been superb for a long time, but it pains me to say this. A guy who went to Ole Miss, I know you went to Tennessee, we're
Right.
SEC people, but I don't think they're the best conference anymore. They may have Alabama, who may be the best team, but they don't have the best conference as a whole. I think that the Big Ten is a better conference through and through. The Ohio States of the world, Michigan with Jim Harbaugh has gotten better. James Franklin showed you what he could do at Penn State. Michigan State, I think, will be a lot better than they were last year.
Yeah.
You also have the Wisconsins of the world and the Iowas. But I think overall the Big Ten is the best conference in college football right here, right now. SEC is number 2.
Yeah, I had my idea this was back, I don't know, during bowl season where I said we should do the SEC Big Ten Challenge where every team is slated 1 through 14 and you play your equal counterpart. That's the only way we're going to know of if the Big Ten's actually better than the SEC or not.
But there's only 5 power conference teams, so one conference would be odd man out. They'd be playing.
No, I'm not talking about the Pac-12 or the Big 12 or whoever else or the ACC.
You're just saying SEC
I'm saying
Big Ten.
SEC versus Big Ten. Let's figure this thing out.
Okay.
Let's nail this down. Let's our 1 go versus your 1, our 7 versus your 7, our Vanderbilt versus your Northwestern, or whatever it wants to be, all the way down 1 to 14. Vandy's not the worst team in the SEC right now. That belongs to Missouri, just like Rutgers is actually the worst team in the Big Ten. So you look at bowl records, and the SEC last year was 6-6, but the Big Ten was actually terrible at 3-7. So you're saying that they're the best conference, and the ACC.
But Austin,
the ACC. Hold on,
don't hit me with bowl records.
Let me finish. The ACC was 8-3 in bowl records. I'm not holding a lot of weight in bowl records because there's a big difference in why some team wants to be in this bowl game, and USC doesn't care about the Las Vegas Bowl when they had national championship aspirations, like what happened a couple years ago, and they got throttled in their bowl game. So that I'm throwing that out. But when I look at the best college football conference, I look at coaching. And I don't trust a lot of coaches in the SEC. I trust a lot more coaches in the Big Ten. So that's why I think as of right now, while the SEC is trying to figure out a lot of its coaching problems, the Big Ten's better.
Yeah, well, I think the SEC has the most trusted coach in Nick Saban, but I do think it falls off. Like the Ed Orgerons of the world, I don't trust that guy with anything.
Well, this is one of the hardest things to answer. And if you're watching this show, comment with your answer. Who's the second best coach in SEC football right now?
Who?
I mean, because you have Nick Saban, everybody knows that, but who's second best?
Well, you could say it could be Jim McElwain because the last 2 years he's led his team to a championship game.
Right,
and they've just gotten
but
beat.
again, like we've argued over the last month or so in the summer, that if Jim McElwain doesn't find a quarterback this year, he's on the low-key hot seat, in my opinion.
You know who I think that it could possibly be by season's end? I think it could be one of the guys who used to work for Nick Saban in Kirby Smart.
Okay.
I think Kirby Smart, you say Jim McElwain has to fix his quarterback situation, which you would be correct. Georgia has all the pieces to win the East, and the matchup between Georgia and Alabama would be an epic one in the SEC championship this year at the end of the year. I think Kirby Smart is probably the closest because I think a couple of years ago, I think it could have been Hugh Freeze.
But here's what's
since
crazy,
all that
though.
happened.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze has a big cloud. Gus Malzahn at one point was a hot name, and now Auburn's kind of regressed back to the mean. I think Auburn's going to have a big year. LSU's always a big-time program, but Ed Orgeron, who's never really had success as a head coach. So you're saying Kirby Smart, a guy who has 1 year of coaching experience at Georgia and overall, and it wasn't that great of a year. It was a pretty average year for Georgia, yet that's the state of the SEC.
Average year with a freshman quarterback?
But that's what I'm saying. That's my whole point is it's hard to answer that question. Who's the second best head coach in the SEC?
It's a difficult question, but I think that Kirby Smart is the closest to be that answer because he has the tools, he has the players this season to compete with Alabama at year's end because he doesn't have to go through the rigors of the SEC West.
Right.
All he's got to deal with is Tennessee. We've got a lot of unknowns there. Florida, they got to get their quarterback situation dealt with. And Vanderbilt, Kentucky, South Carolina, and Missouri of the world, those are usually easy outs. So I'm going to go with Kirby Smart as the second best coach in the SEC.
All right, so who's the second best program? What's that answer? Because right now it's Alabama and everybody else, and what I believe the SEC is right now.
Well, what's your answer for coach?
For coach, I want to say it's Jim McElwain. I would, if I'm answering that, I go with Jim McElwain because he's managed to get to Atlanta in his first 2 years as a head coach at Florida without a quarterback, and that is an impressive feat in my opinion.
Okay, I'll give you that. It's not that bad of an answer.
So we have King Bama. King Alabama is right there atop the SEC, but there is no Prince. So I want us to name the Prince of the SEC when it comes to a college football program, and we'll do that in about 45 seconds after we tell you about Kona Ice Music City.
Yes, that is correct. You got Mariota Monday today.
Yeah, that is Mariota Monday today.
You can look at that, but Kona Ice will hook you up with some shaved ice.
Absolutely. Best shaved ice company in the mid-state, Kona Ice Music City. They're all over the place this 4th of July weekend. Actually, today they are in Clarksville at the riverfront with Kona Ice Music City and Doxy's Pizza. Tomorrow, the 4th of July, Doxy's will be at the Adventure Science Center, and Kona Ice Music City will be downtown at Ascend Amphitheater. It's a great treat to cool you off on this hot weekend that we're going to have over the 4th of July. You might have some rain, but with rain comes humidity, and with humidity, we all get sticky and sweaty. Cool off with a Kona Ice shaved ice from Kona Ice Music City. That's how you get a hold of them. Find them all around the city in this holiday weekend. Prince of the SEC.
Prince of the SEC?
I feel like you're going to go with the second best coach in your opinion in the SEC.
Yeah, it is. It's the correct answer. I'm spitting you some knowledge here, Austin, so listen up.
Okay.
It's the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia is the exact same team that Tennessee was last year, and Tennessee spewed it away by losing to South Carolina and rival Vanderbilt at the end of the season to make it into the Music City Bowl instead of an SEC championship bid or a Sugar Bowl bid. That's what happened. Now, Georgia has that exact same opportunity coming into this season. We'll see what they do with it, but they're the Prince of the SEC. The other argument that I could make, I think would be it on the West side, is either LSU or Auburn.
Right. I think there are 4 options or 4 candidates for Prince.
There's only one answer, though.
And yeah, your answer is Georgia. I think that's the sexiest answer for. I mean, we're going to be down in
Hey,
we're going to be down in SEC Media Days a week from today, and at some point we're going to have to give our predictions for the SEC, and so all the media can predict what's going to happen, and we'll be a part of that. I think Georgia is going to be the runaway leading prediction to win the SEC East. But if you're talking about Prince of the SEC, if I'm going to pick a team from the East, I'm going with Florida because they've won without a quarterback, like I just mentioned a few minutes ago, 2 years in a row with Jim McElwain. If I'm going to pick somebody from the West, I think you're right. It's LSU or Auburn. They have the most resources of that division to constantly compete and consistently compete with Alabama, trying to get to that level. Alabama is clear, far and away the king. It's just we're still trying to find
Who's your
prince.
Singular prince?
I'm going with Florida. Because it's
you
hard.
take Florida
it's
over
hard to,
LSU and Auburn.
Yeah, because it's hard to pick because Florida doesn't have to play Alabama every year unless it's in Atlanta. So I think Florida has any team from the East has the better opportunity from any team of the West to get this Prince of the SEC crown.
Florida also has to play LSU.
True, but they can beat LSU like they beat LSU this past season.
Oh, there you go.
All right, so I mentioned we're going to be down at SEC Media Days in Birmingham a week from today. Zach, before we get out of here for this State of the SEC mini episode here on A to Z Sports, what's the thing you're looking forward to most down in Birmingham?
Yeah, I've thought about this, and the next time we'll be live is in Birmingham, and
Right.
I'm pretty amped about that. But the number one thing I'm looking forward to for SEC Media Days is the players that the coaches take. Those I think those are the most telling things of the entire week. Is who are the leaders in this program? Who's Nick Saban going to choose? Is he going to go with Jalen Hurts? Is that going to be his guy? Who's Kirby Smart going to pick? Who's Hugh Freeze going to go with? What about Big Butch Jones?
Yeah, I don't know what Butch
Is he
Jones
going to
is.
go with the quarterback? Is he going to bring Dormady and Garantano and say, these are my two guys? They're going to duke it out on SEC Media Days, see who can handle themselves the best? I think that the players are the one thing that I'm looking forward to is because it tells you a little bit more about how things have been going for the last several months that nobody's been talking about SEC football.
I got you. Mine is what's going to be the controversy that drives the entire week, where there's one problem and every coach is getting asked about how they would deal with that one problem from that one school. Last year, it was Alabama not suspending Cam Robinson for having the stolen weapon and marijuana in that car. And Nick Saban and Paul Feinbaum about went 12 rounds, which is a fight that's going to be better than Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather. I want to see what this year's controversy is going to be. Because Nick Saban did not hold anything back last year. Right now, I don't know what that's going to be.
No, you are right.
It's definitely not going to be Vanderbilt players getting shot at target over a stolen cell phone. That's not what it's going to be because Vanderbilt, on the big scope of things, doesn't matter.
I don't know. We may have a conversation about pellet guns next week. You never know.
Maybe. All right, that's the end of today's State of the SEC episode. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow on Tuesday, it is the 4th of July, so we're getting into the entire state of American pro sports. We'll go through all the different leagues and figure out who has the most amount of problems, who has the least amount of problems. But thanks again for watching. The next time we'll be live, again, we'll be down in Birmingham for SEC Media Days. Enjoy your 4th of July, and we'll see you again tomorrow.